we're back. That Aussie couple. This is Grimnag,
Free run.
and we're going to try another fun time of streaming and recording at the same time. This time, we're going to do something completely different than what we normally do. We've actually found an interesting video from the Real Vintage Dolls House. Don't know much more other than the title caught our attention. We watched it earlier, and we had some reactions to it. We might skip around a bit, might go here and there. But we're going to try this whole, hey, look, let's react, video react kind of recording.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. The title of this one is Why Does Everything Feel So Boring Now?
Or does everything feel kind of boring now? I mean, when did Christmases go from feeling like this to this? When did quality time change from this to this?
About the time that the iPad was invented.
Yes, by the time, yeah.
Because, yes.
Because people prefer to use technology as babysitters.
There's that, and the fact that people find their own entertainment instead of having to deal with the people around them.
When did life lose its colour? Sad beige aesthetics, millennial grey, music that all seems to sound the same, and an internet that's gone from a community space to a constant stream of advertisement.
Yep.
And don't forget, music actually does sound all the same. They actually did
They
actually did a scientific study proving that musical notations and the patterns and stuff like that have gotten simpler and more of the same setups versus even in the 90s.
And that is because
Synthesizers and other fun stuff.
and
like
people are lazy.
That too. Totally agree.
They don't want to make their own beat.
Well, dun 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 was not. I do remember that line that he said on the way into to court. Say, no, it's a different beat. It's dun 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 dun. Dun. I remember saying that going, dude. And for the youngins out there who don't get that, look up.
For the young people that are out there, let's translate to proper English.
That was for Vanilla Ice.
When I first started YouTube, I made this video about that melancholy feeling of nostalgia, otherwise known as homesickness. And it seems now that we're all craving that kind of comfort from yesteryears, but in a way that we can't quite put our finger on. I mean, when I visit my grandparents' home, even today, it still gives me that feeling of warmth, vibrancy, and play. Growing up in a world quite different from today felt exciting when technology was still clunky and yet new and filled with discovery. The internet was filled with personalised pages made by real humans with sparkly GIFs and quotes and...
Sparkly GIFs and quotes. You remember those?
Yes, I remember MySpace.
You had a MySpace page too?
Yes, I did.
Did you have autoplay video, audio and stuff like that?
No.
How about sparkles?
I didn't have time for any of that stuff. Really. I just put stuff up and I'm like, you know what? No, I just can't be asked.
There were so many.
And then I moved on to...
I had a live journal.
What was it?
After MySpace?
Yeah, what was after MySpace? Facebook?
Yeah. Because like I said, I had a live journal, not a MySpace page.
I can't remember. But yes, I mean, everything's just gone bland. You know, I hate grey and white aesthetics in a house. I like colours too.
Yeah, unfortunately, we live in rental land.
Pastel colours. Or earthy colours. That's my favourite. But yes, everything just feels too sterile.
Southwest style oranges and browns. And tans.
Well, there are oranges that I can't stand. But
yeah, but
yes.
You know, whatever you call that, red earth style color. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't name colors.
Every phone told the story.
I love this picture right here. All of these phones. I wish I had cool phones like that. You had Nokias. I didn't have Nokias.
I started off with a Nokia when I first got on the internet, as it were, when we first went digital phone.
I had a Motorola Razr, but that's when you showed up.
Yes, I showed up out of the blue.
Before then, I don't recall my phones, but they were all flip phones. I didn't have any candy bar phones growing up. And Dad had the big giant brick phone that's not in this picture.
I had Nokias that I don't think we could text with Nokias.
Or of their owner, and people enjoyed expressing their individuality at any given moment. And I know what you're going to say. You were a kid. Of course everything was better. But wait, if that is the case, then riddle me this. Why is it that when I look at things that aren't even within the realms of my own nostalgia, they still bring me more joy than any modern day aesthetics? I mean, why, oh why did we...
I'd point out for that one, right, is that when you see things from American 80s, 90s life, which is different than the Australian 80s in life, just like me coming to Australia and seeing stuff from the 90s, and it's like, that's not my 90s, but it's still cool. It's just 90s, but it was definitely Australian.
Yeah.
Like Skippy.
And Lassie.
Well, Lassie is more American, but yeah.
We stopped having beautiful kitchens in the colours of duck egg blue and butter yellow and oranges and mint greens. And don't even get me started on bathrooms. Spaces used to...
They actually had, as far as I know, it's gone finally, but had a yellow refrigerator in the old house in Needles.
I love colour. I love those old bathrooms. When we watch HGTV and someone sees one of the old fashioned bathrooms and they're like, oh, the bathroom needs redo, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
You know, a lot of times you can still use those old,
especially when you get the pink ones.
the Pepto Bismol pink,
or the pastel blue ones.
Teal's a good color.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want it in my bathtub, but
I don't have a problem with it.
Showers are fine.
If I could live in a house that had stuff like that, jeez, I'd be so happy.
Feel less like a doctor's waiting room and more, oh man, I'm going to have to say it, authentic. Or at least lived in.
Lived in.
Not like the show homes that we see dominating our social media feeds today, whereas I'm trying to create something that echoes all creatures great and small. Oh, I love that show so much. So where did it all go wrong? Well, like any self-respecting human, when they're up in their feelings, I turned to YouTube to see if anybody else had felt this loss of vibrancy in the modern age as I do. And it was this fantastic video that captured...
I think his thumbnail pretty much nails it. We had curves and shapes in the old days versus now everything's cubes and flats.
Oh, you just noticed that the Cybertruck there?
Because it blurs into the building in the background of the picture. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think Cybertrucks are cool in some senses, but at the end of the day, they are just cubes.
Exactly what I mean. Honestly, it does not matter when your childhood was, this video will still resonate with you, I promise you. You should definitely go give it a watch. But mentioned within this video was a study conducted by the Science Museum Group on colour, where they photographed 7,000 objects in 21 different categories, and these were just everyday objects throughout history, and just take a look at this. We can see here a nice steady mix of colours from 1780 all the way to the 1920s, where it appears to slightly expand through to the 50s, and then boom, it becomes a beautiful array of colours, which sadly continues to dip with that looming monotonous grey creeping in more and more and more until we reach today. Objects simply had more colour, and there was more variety. Whereas in the past, your home might display a beautiful ornate clock, a colourful board game, and a telephone, now all of these functions live solely on our mobile phones. Our dark, rectangular mobile phones.
But all the same black, blank screens. Also, I think a lot of the reasons why we had color in the past, the earlier past, is because everything was made out of natural stuff. Metals and woods. That's it.
It just kind of, when you said that, it's kind of reminded me how nowadays white cars is the base color.
Yes.
Whereas back then, it didn't matter. You could probably have like a blue one, a pink one, green one, whatever color you wanted.
But Chevy's fault
because
that we had different colors.
I don't think I've ever seen I have seen, rarely, an older car that is white. They're more like the teal colors that I've seen, like, you know.
I think part of that is the fact that most of the old cars you see nowadays have been redone. Right? You don't see many ones that are still in their original conditions. But that said, I think you're right. I think white was basically an uncommon color
I mean,
of cars.
I hate white cars, but that's neither here nor there.
Outside of certain areas, like, Germany. It's like you can have. But then again, even the Volkswagens were like yellow.
If I could have my car
Mhm.
in a pastel pink,
Which you can if you want to spend somebody to
I
wrap
would.
it or repaint it. I think that's.
And I don't normally like pink, but I think a nice metallic pastel pink would look really nice. Or a flat pink, actually, not the metallic, just a matte pink. That doesn't have any of that the glitter, the sparkle the metallic does. It's just one color done.
I think your shade would matter a lot as to what it would look like on a car.
Maybe. Maybe not.
But looky here. And I did choose this model deliberately so that whenever the light touched it, I would get that nice little rainbow effect. It did cost me more because apparently there's a colour tax nowadays, but...
Procrastination and ads. Ad.
And that's kind of cute. And it's all Apple's fault. No, I'm just kidding. Although, when Apple iPhones were introduced in 2007 with their broader designs of simplicity, white spaces, clean, what is this obsession with clean? Clean designs, clean homes, clean girl aesthetics. What if I want to be dirty? Don't. And this clean ethos set a template that spread like wildfire. From tech interfaces to physical product packaging to advertising. I'm telling you, Androids all the way. No, I'm just kidding. They're all the same. And this is where we really saw corporate minimalism and branding aesthetics become the dominant design trend with their clean lines.
Which we get the point.
Yes. We're not going to show the entire video because it's a really long video.
It's not that long. It's only 18 minutes, but go watch her. Go watch Real Vintage Dolls. We'll link it in the description when we get around to it. Yeah, her channel's called Real Vintage Dollhouses. Doll's
but
House.
The video's like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, I like houses that they're lived in.
Well, even in this pod, let me just move her eyes a little bit. There we go. I don't like pausing people in bad faces if they don't help it. It's lived in. Yes, she's got her YouTube silver, subscriber button, but then look, I mean, her jacket's just casually tossed on the back of that chair, and just pillows and what do you call sheets on the back of chairs. These are just you're living in this space, so you're making use of the space.
Oh yeah, we were talking about fonts too, weren't we? The sans serifs font.
Well, she's about to get into that section of it.
Yeah.
So
we don't like that font.
I use Courier. Not Courier New, Courier, whenever I can personally, because I grew up with typewriters and old school green on black CRT monitors.
I like
for typing.
Comic Sans and Cambria.
Yeah, I don't use
they were
Times
well
New
rounded.
Roman. I think most of my work stuff looks like some
Arial.
I think it's stuck at Arial. Yeah, whatever the default for. No, it's not default because I've set the templates. But yeah, it's probably Arial.
I don't like Arial or Times New Roman.
I don't use Times New Roman.
Boring.
But basically, a lot of my work stuff is determined by work. What is my personal typing? Courier. I like typewriters.
But I miss the the lived-in house look. Like nowadays, everyone's like, your house has to be spotless. How'd you let it get that messy?
Because I'm alive.
Even if you have a husband and 2 kids or 3 kids or whatever, your house should not look like a pigsty. Really?
Why don't we skip towards the end here where she talks about the artificiality of things. I'm just going to go to the last 2 minutes. There we go. Here. No, actually a little bit before this point. There we go.
To find in the future. The world just feels a bit more muted. And it makes me really sad because I truly miss the craftsmanship that went into literally everything. I mean, I was captivated as a kid by Studio Ghibli and Wallace and Gromit and A Muppet Christmas Carol.
It's in the singing of a street corner choir.
And now I'm forced to endure poor CGI and superhero films that I watch with my boyfriend that I literally cannot see. Please, can the edit team start turning up the brightness or the colour gradient? You know, your girl's struggling here. I mean, why is everything so greyish? Aren't these supposed to be based on comic books, which are literally some of the most colourful things in the world? But don't worry, because there is still true craftsmanship out there on the internet. Like Henry's watches, who's been handcrafting watches for 30 years and now wants to go and spend some time with his grandchildren, and so he's doing a farewell sale. Except that's AI. Or Grace, who's been making handbags for pretty much her entire life and now wants to spend some time with her family. Except that's AI as well.
Oh my God!
We're not simply being starved visually, culturally, creatively, emotionally. We're being cheated. We're being robbed. Because pretty much all aspects of life have been optimized for scale, efficiency, and productivity rather than humanity. What we see today is often less lived in and more presentable, less unique and more aesthetic. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to opt out. So don't mind me and my boyfriend as we ride off into the sunset in his 1989 E30 as I wear a beautiful vintage dress and we go and have a picnic at dusk. Because I'm not mad at the way the world is today, and I'm certainly not of the opinion that it's my way or the highway. I'm just disappointed that so much of how the world used to feel just isn't there anymore. Well, that was all a little bit heavy. And if you'd like a break from pretty much everything we've just spoken about, then why not join me on Wednesday, where I'll be practicing the art of slow living in a fast world. And
slow living in a fast world. Again, it's not even, we're in the future that's not even the fun future like we saw in the Jetsons or in, Lost in Space or any other 60s, 70s thoughts of what the future would look like.
I mean, it's 2025. I thought we'd be living a bit spacey by now.
We didn't even get Back to the Future's hoverboards version of 2025. Right?
I thought we'd have some things sci-fi-ish in our houses by now.
And on the one hand, I mean, as a technology person, I fully admit, look at what we're doing right now. We're literally talking from Australia to the rest of the world on a computer smaller than this table, right? It's not the wall. It is not like the stuff I tracked at NASA, giant entire walls of stuff to do it. We're able to do this from a phone. You're able to do this from, anywhere on the planet, basically. Literally, you can stream from Antarctica.
Yeah, that's well and all, but I still think that with technology, we have gone backwards a bit. I think humanity is losing its humanity.
And I think a lot of parts of it is. That's why I like going to farmers markets, because it's still people having to talk to you face to face and touch things. Chickens, eggs,
pigs,
animals,
truffles.
Well, with that brightly wonderful downer note, I don't know if we have anything else we want to say on this.
What's downer about it?
Well, it's. Are we being that it's like, oh, we're doomed, this is what it's going to be, or?
Well, we're old, really. I mean, we've lived through
we've
the
reproduced.
previous. No, we've lived through the whole no technology era.
Yeah.
Our kids wouldn't know what to do with themselves if we took technology away from them today.
Run up and down the road over and over again, listening to cassette tapes.
No, they wouldn't know. They'd cry about it for days.
Oh, they definitely.
Oh, I'm bored. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I missed my phone.
Yeah, well, again, they also do things like read physical books and listen to physical media and watch physical stuff now and again, that have been digitized.
But, we've lived through the era of no technology, so.
So what's next then? Is this the same thing they were having in the 1800s at the Industrial Revolution, when all of a sudden everything was just like, oh, look, why don't you just buy it off the rack instead of going to the cobbler? What?
Oh, the seamstress, yes.
Yeah, But even at that time period, even when in the Industrial Revolution became common to get clothes, people still made clothes. People still tried to do things. So it's where are we going to next? And is it all being this one homogenized kind of soup? Because it used to be, again, because the world has gotten more connected, things stood out more. It's like, oh, that is Australian. Like you look at 90s stuff and you go, oh, well, that was definitely Australian. Like when I see a tradie in shorts, like that's Australia. That's one past OSHA standards in America.
It's because you've lived some of the Australian lifestyle.
Now, yes.
Yes.
But if I looked at it...
if you were in the US and you've never seen anything remotely Australian, you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you'd be like, why is that guy wearing shorts instead of pants? Because he's obviously a construction worker of some kind. But it's... Again, the world is getting more homogenized, which kind of blandifies a lot of things. It used to be you go look at Japan, like, oh, look at all the crazy weirdness over there. But now it's... Yeah, exactly. Now it's all kind of like, oh, okay. It's another one of them.
Yeah. Sorry. All the houses look cookie cutter.
Very cubes.
Unless you build it yourself.
And again, on that downer note, or are we going to go figure out some sort of higher note on that? Because to me, even the space stuff, because of space, will all look like spheres and tubes for a while.
Or cubes, if you're the Borg.
No, it won't be cubes. There'll be spheres and tubes as long as you need gas to be in it. As in places for humans to breathe.
That's no moon. Anyway, so we'll leave you with that. Take a look at this video and give us some thoughts.
Yeah, we enjoyed it enough to share it, and that's what we're thinking here. We want other people to have a thought about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's not necessarily all bad things because everybody can make their choices to do things about it. It's like bring some color to your own life. Choose other things. Have fun with it.
Don't be afraid to express yourself, regardless of what anybody else thinks.
Be the weirdo. Dance like nobody's watching. Or be like me, I just don't even care even when they are watching.
Okay.
All right, and with that, we leave you another one. This is Grimnag.
And Free Ren.
Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.